Hello and welcome to this new Android development tutorial. This is part 3 of how to make a drawing application for Android. In the previous tutorials we set up our paint view and we will actually able to draw on our application. If I run the app right now, we can check the current state of the app so we can see how it's working and what can we do to make it better. So this is the app as it looks right now. If we drag on the screen, we can draw in black, as you can see. And we also have this bottom bar in which we have to create our buttons. So a good feature would be to clear the content of the paint screen, okay? To do that, we go to our Android Studio IDE and we open our activity main.xml file, as you can see, and here inside the linear layout we created previously, which has black background, we will create a button. So we open an element and type button. Width will be 0 dp, height will be match parent, and weight will be 1. And we'll put the ID to this button as clear, okay? And we will also put the text of the button as clear. If we run the app, we can see what happened to the UI element. So right now it's being compiled and will be sent to the emulator so we can see what's going on with the application. Okay, so I will wait for the compilation to be completed, and this is just one button. We will later add more features. So if we go to the app and we have now the clear button, which doesn't work because we haven't set it up in the code. So now we're gonna set up the clear button. We go to our main activity.java file right here, and in the onResume method, after after we call the initDraw method, we will get and set the button. For that, we're gonna write final button. Okay, final button clear button, and we'll set this to find view by ID r.id.clear. Okay, and we will set up the click listener for this button. For that, we're gonna say clear button dot set on click listener new on click listener. Okay, so the IDE generates this code for me, and inside this on click method we will call paint view dot clear. Okay, which was the method we created. If we go to that method right here in our paint view, it basically says paths.clear and invalidate. We will check if this works right now. So I'm running the app and checking if it works or not. Okay, so here I have my app. I am drawing right here, and I will click on the clear button, and as you can see, the drawing was cleared, which is cool, right? So we can now clear our drawing, which is awesome. Okay, so we can do that, and that's a cool feature. So if we go to our paintview.java file right here, let me close this bar in order for us to have a better look at what's going on here. So this is our paintview.java, which basically defines how our paint view behaves, right? Okay, the first method is just a constructor method that has to be called just once. Then the init method has also to be called only once, right? Okay, so let me check what else can we do to do some optimizations and to add some new things to our app, right? Okay, Okay. So we can first of all change the brush size, you know, the stroke size, and we can also change the color, right? Okay, which is great. So if we remember when we set the color is on the touch start thing right here. So here we are setting, okay, when the user touches the screen, we create a new finger path and we set that to black color and the stroke width to 20. Okay, so we want to be able to change these values from the UI. Okay, so for this we will change these guys, these and these with global variables. So we're gonna say the first one will store color, which will be an int. So we're gonna say private int. I will call this brush color, and I will set this to color that black. Okay, so that's our brush color. And we also set the brush size. So we're gonna say private int brush size, and we will set this to 20, as is the default brush size. Now right here inside the touch start method in the second line, we will change this color that black. We will change that with the brush color variable we just created, and we will also change the stroke width with the brush size variable we just created. Now, to check that everything works fine, I will run the app now and see that everything keeps working the same as previously. So running the emulator, and as you can see, I'm drawing this, it's black and the stroke 20, and if I clear, draw again, so it's working as I want, which is awesome. Now we have to create a way for us to change these variables right here, right? So we have to access those variables from outside this class. So we have to access them from our main activity.java class. Okay, so for that we will create some buttons here. So we go to activity main.xml, and the first button was the clear button. So we also want to change the brush size, kind of make it larger or smaller, and also change the color, right? Okay, so we're gonna go and say another button right here. Width will be 0 dp, so the same as the previous button. Height will be match parent, weight will be 1, then and we will create an IV, and this will have to be something like increase the brush size. So brush size increase brush size. Brush size, okay, I would say brush size plus. I cannot use plus right here. So brush size ink, so increment brush size, right? And as text we will set brush brush size plus. Okay, and we will create another one of the same, but just to decrease the brush size. So we're gonna go here and duplicate these, and instead of ink we'll say dec to decrement, and instead of plus we'll say minus here. Okay, so we have now these two buttons, and we will run the app to check if they are looking as we want. So now I'm running the app, and as you can see I have brush size plus and brush size minus right here, which is awesome. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to our main activity.java file, and after we create the clear button we will also initialize the brush size buttons. So we're gonna say final button ink brush size, and this will be set to find view by ID or ID that brush size ink. Okay, and we're gonna set the listener to this button. So we're gonna say ink brush size that set on click listener, new on click listener, and here we have the on click method. We'll do the same for the decrement brush size button. So we're gonna say final button deck brush size, and we'll set this to find view by ID r.id dot brush size deck, and we'll set the click listener. So deck brush size that set on click listener, new on click listener. So now we have these two buttons and these two on click methods that will be called every time each of them are pressed by the user. So to increment brush size, we'll have to change the variables right here. As you may think, the easiest way would be just to make these public and change them. So let's test if that works. So you're gonna say public int brush color. We have color that's black. Okay, and now we want to change that. We're not changing color, sorry, we're changing the brush size. So you're gonna say public int brush size, it's 20, right? Now if we go to our main activity.java and we say when increment brush size, we want to access paint view that brush size, and we will say brush size plus plus, and maybe that would be enough to increment brush size. Okay, let's test. So let's run and check if that works or not. Okay, so I'm installing and running the app, and if I make a line right here and then I press increment brush size and I make another line right here, it seems kind of the same, but we will have to click more times here in order for us to see any difference. And yes, it actually makes the line thicker, as you can see. So as you can see, it's being incremented the brush size quite a bit. Okay, which is great, it's working. Now we're gonna do the same with the decrement brush size listener. So right here we're gonna say paint view that brush size minus minus, and we will run the app again and check if this decrement brush size feature works. So running the app and I make a line, then I press in brush size minus and I have a slimmer line. If I go even beyond that, I have this. So what happens if I go to 0 or actually below 0? Will that cause any crash? Okay. So as you can see right now, there's the brush size which doesn't go smaller than that, and apparently there's no crashing occurring. But the problem is when I want to increase the brush size, it still is the same. So what we have to do here is we want to say to decrease the brush size, we will check if the brush size is greater than 0 actually. So if or than 1. So if paint view dot brush size is greater than 1, we will say paint view brush size minus minus, as you can see. So now we will run the app and check if that bug has been fixed. Okay, so now I'm running the app and I have this one, and I decrease the brush size and I keep decreasing the brush size. Okay, until I am the slimmest limit, as you can see. And if I go and increase it, then it becomes thicker. So our bug has been fixed right now. Okay, which is awesome. So now we have changed our brush size variable. Now we want to change or color variable, right? So let's check if we can do that. So for that, we're gonna just have to change this variable right here, which is called brush color. Okay, so we go to main activity.java, and we want to change the brush color. So let me reformat this. Okay, so to do that, we go and create another button that will say change color or something like that. So after this button right here, we're gonna create a new button. The width will be 0 dp, the height will be match parent, the weight will be 1, the ID will be change color, and the text will also be changed or just color, you know, it don't have to be that specific, right? We will run the app and check if it looks as we want. Okay, so we are compiling and now we're running, and as you can see here, we have our 4 buttons which are looking just fine. Okay, so now we're gonna set the click listener on our change color button. For that, we go below this decrement brush size button and type final button change color. We will set this to find view by ID r.id that change color. We go ahead and set the listener by writing change color that set on click listener new on click listener. And when we want to change the color, for example, we want to change the color between black and red. So to do a quick testing with this thing. Okay, so we're gonna say if paint view that color, oops, if paint view that brush color, actually, if paint view that brush color equals color that black, so if the current color is black, it will change that color to red. Okay, paint view that brush color will set to color that red, as you can see. If it's not black, we will set it to black. So paint view that brush color will be set to color that black. So now we have 2 colors between black and red, which by the way are my favorite colors. So we're gonna run the app and check if this color changing feature actually works. So go to the emulator, we draw something, as you can see, we press color, and we draw something, and as you can see now it's on red. And we can keep drawing in red, and if we want to switch back to black, we will press color, and now it is black. We can clear this thing and start drawing something. So for example, I want to draw a tree. Okay, but then this is kind of so thick, so I'll decrease the brush size quite a bit, and I'll go again and kind of draw in the tree, you know. We'll change the color, and I will draw the rest of the tree. I'm not an expert with this kind of stuff, but well, as you can see, we can increment or decrement the brush size. As you can see, maybe we can change to black and draw something again, maybe a fruit or something. As you can see, we have created our app, and this has some kind of useful features, but we would like to change and to add more features for this. For example, we would want to display the current brush size. Okay, so maybe we want to display the current brush size here at the top, and also the current color, and maybe the so we can be switching to more colors later. So we will do that right now. So we go to our activity main.xml, and we go before this frame layout we have right here, and we will create a new linear layout. So we open an element and type linear layout. The width will be much parent, and the height will be 0 dp, and the weight will be 1. But now, okay, orientation horizontal. But now remember that we have set this to be 90% and this 10%. So now we will make this thing a bit smaller. So this will have 80% and plus 1 and 1% right here. So to fix that in code, we go to our paint view.java and we will scroll to our init method right here. And instead of 0.9, so we were using previously 90%, we'll change that with 0.8. So because we're now using the 80% to draw. Okay, so we continue to our main activity main.xml file. Inside here we will create a couple of useful states. So the first will be a text view. The width will be 0 dp. The height will be much parent and the weight will be 1. The ID for this text view will be brush size, which will display the current brush size. Okay. We will set the gravity of this to center, and we will set the text size to 23 sp, for example. And we will also set the text color to black. So you can say text color black, which is a color we created in one of the previous tutorials. Okay, so now we have the brush size text view right here, and we want to also create the current color, okay, to display the current color. So you're going to say text view ID will be brush color, okay, and everything else we will leave as it is. Okay, so now we're gonna go to our main activity.java, and when we init this, we will, okay, after we init this change color thing, we will init the text views we created. So we're gonna say final text view. What was the first one? So the first one was brush size. Okay, so you can say brush size, and we'll set to find view by id r.id dot brush size. Okay, now we're gonna say and set brush size to the default size. So brush size dot set text, set it to 20. Okay, and now we're gonna go and say final text view color, or brush color, actually brush color. We'll find view by id r.id dot brush color, and go ahead and say brush color dot set text, and the default color is black, so we're gonna leave it as black. And when we change the color and when we change the brush size, we will have to change the values of the text views. So actually we have to define this before the listener. So we will move this code before the increment brush size button right here. Okay, so in the increment brush size, apart from incrementing the brush size, we will have to update the new brush size value. So for that, we're going to say brush size dot set text string dot value of, and will be paint view dot brush size. Okay, which is great. And we will have to do the same when we decrement the brush size. So you're gonna say here brush size dot set text, and we're gonna say string dot value of paint view dot brush size. Great, right? Okay, now in the change color, we can also update this. So when we go to red, we have to set it to red. So we're gonna say brush color dot set text, and we'll set it to red. And the same when we go to black. So brush color that set text, and we will set this to black. And now we will run the app to check if everything works as we want. So now it's being compiled and sent to the emulator. And as you can see, I have here 20 and black, which are the default things right here. Okay, if I draw, I can see what I draw. If I decrease the brush size, I have 19, as you can see. If I keep decreasing it, I have 7 or 6. Okay, if I increase the brush size, it also works. If I change color, it goes from black to red, and now I know that I'm on red. If I change this, I can keep changing. For example, we have black and red. But what if we want to create a sort of an eraser? We want to create a kind of a white color to erase some stuff, right? Okay, so right here we're gonna go this cycle. Red, white, and black will be at the end. So I'm gonna say if, now we're gonna write else if color. So if it's black, go to red. Now if it's red, we will go to white, and if it's white, we'll go to black. Okay, so here we check if it's red. So paint view dot brush color equals to color dot red. If it's red, then we can complete this else statement so it's not messy. Okay, so if it's red, we will go to white. So we're gonna say paint view dot brush color, we'll set to color dot white. Okay, awesome, white. And now we have to update this set text as well. So brush color dot set text will be set to white. And now we will run the app to check if it works or not. Kind of implemented an eraser right here, right? Because eraser is useful. So we have black. If we change the color, we have red. If we change the color, we have white. And with white, we can kind of delete because the background is white, right? And after white, we have black again. And then we have red, and then we have white. So we want to delete a lot of stuff. I'm gonna increase the brush size, maybe by 40 or something, and I will want to delete these more easily, as you can see. Maybe even larger, maybe something like 50 or even 60. Okay, as you can see, it's way thicker, and I'm deleting everything that's it's on the screen. If you want to delete everything at once, just press clear. Okay, so we change the color to black, as you can see, and I press clear, it's deleted. So I hope you enjoyed this video. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoy it, and I see you in the next one. Bye.